broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey everybody, welcome into The Good Wife. Welcome back from our mid-season break. Welcome into the new year, 2015. Hope you all had a wonderful holiday season and a wonderful new year. It has been nice to be off. I will be honest about that. You were watching The Good Wife. We were talking Hail Mary today. I'm Bobby. That's Allison next to me and Tara at the end of the table. Ladies, how are you?
I'm fantastic. It's a new year, new beginnings.
New year, new you. Let's talk about that real quick before we jump into the show today. We've got a lot to talk about. Maybe the best Good Wife episode of the season so far.
Ever.
Before we get there, though, with the new year, new you, have you guys already broken your New Year's resolutions?
I didn't even make them.
Good.
I started mine last year. I don't really get into that, so.
Yeah, didn't even do that.
What about you? Because you're trouble.
I broke every single one on January 2. All right, let's jump into this right now. And remember, since you guys are back with us after this mid-season break, doing the whole second half of this season, if you haven't already, hit subscribe on iTunes and YouTube. You can comment on YouTube. You can rate us on iTunes. You can tweet us. We'll give out our Twitter handles at the end of the show and all that kind of stuff. They're also on the graphics below if you're watching the video. Let's jump in now. We got a lot to talk about today. Kalinda's going to be a big topic, and Alicia's going to be a big topic. Let's start with a little, not funnier, but maybe a little more blunt topic, which is Cary and Cary's prison consultant, Croft. Mr. Croft. Okay. We know what happened. Spoiler alert, Cary's not going to jail, at least not right now. If you didn't know that, you shouldn't be watching the after show.
Allison wants to show
I'm so excited. I just want to let all my fans know I'm a big Cary fan. I was at the edge of my seat, almost in tears, literally.
She was. Really, she was.
Just so happy, guys.
So, Allison, considering you were in tears, considering you thought Cary was going to jail, could he have survived in prison? With what Croft taught him in that short time in that hotel room, could Cary have been okay? You
know what? Like he said, you can't trust Kalinda, and with Kalinda being behind him, finding someone to protect him in that prison, I don't think it would have been good. No, I still don't trust Bishop because he could have got a guy and saying protect such and such, but it could have ended up, turning out bad. Cary's too sweet. I don't think he would have been able to last in prison.
And he's a physically small guy.
Very small.
He's really petite.
So little, and they could just toss and
he's like petite,
I don't even want to think about it, but we all know Cary would not survive prison.
You don't think, and this is what confused me about Cary's prison prep and what little that I know about prison, I don't know a lot, but because of his job as an attorney, considering who he has defended, considering the cases he's worked on, wouldn't he have some kind of special treatment where they'd put him in a wing or a ward or whatever where he's not with general convicts?
Maybe not. But to be away from general population means like 23 hours in your cell,
for sure.
An hour of exercise. That could be worse than being in general population.
Right.
But I think that's desirable for him.
By him being a lawyer, people may like that. Like, oh, maybe you'll be able to make some calls to your lawyer friends and help us out. Point. And they may be good for him as well.
He can work on their cases in prison. This is all speculation, but that's a good point.
You got to work your angles. But I would love to know if there are other prison consultants out there, because I asked the question if this is like a real thing.
I think there are.
I would love to know, what do you normally teach? Like in the episode, did we really see what happens in your 5-hour consultation? I would love to know.
Who gets the prison consultant? Is it just rich people?
Oh, it's definitely just rich people.
Definitely rich.
Oh,
The poor people are the ones who cause the rich people to have the prison consultant.
Oh, okay, I get it.
I was reading something totally coincidentally a couple days ago, and I forget what publication it was in, but it was a long-form journalism piece about how people now with money to do it are paying their way into better prisons, cushier prisons, not lighter sentences. They're still serving their sentence as mandated by the court, but they are paying for private cells, better,
I would do that too.
Better perks and things like that.
I have to say,
if I'm rich and I'm going to prison, come on now. I better be living the time of my life while I'm in there.
It's not Club Med.
If I can do it, and the money's still green on the outside and the inside, I'm going to spend it and use it.
If the checks don't bounce.
Right.
I use it too.
As opposed to getting into gangs and getting into all that stuff, which if you watch prison documentaries, it seems inevitable. It's probably not quite that inevitable.
Yeah, opposed to doing that, I would spend my money.
Yeah.
Try to make it cushy
as well.
I would do that.
Interesting.
Speaking about gangs, why did the prison consultant tell Cary to find a friend and make sure it's his own race for his own sake.
Everything in prison is racial. Black with black, Latino with Latino, white with white. That's the easiest gang delineator in prison.
But you can't have a black-white friend that's like
absolutely
homies.
Not.
They knew each other.
I mean, I'm
from
sure
the
that
street.
exists and stuff, but his point, which is from all the stuff I've read and seen, and again, I'm no expert on prison, but I've watched a lot of documentaries.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of TV shows.
All the stuff that I've seen about this is when, language alert, when shit goes down, it's easily identifiable by your skin color, so that's how people identify. And you have to remember who's in prison, whether it's white or black or Latino. This is how these guys have been identifying on the street, because a lot of people in prison have a gang connection in some way. And so once they get to prison, whether it's Aryan Brotherhood or Latin Kings or Gangster Disciples or whatever the gang is, whatever the race is, it's just a natural identifier. And then you have people like Cary who are an outlier who get into prison. They can't survive on their own. So does Cary want to go to the Aryan Brotherhood? No, that's ridiculous. But he can't go to the Latin Kings or the Gangster Disciples or MS-13. He can't go to them because they won't accept him. So you're stuck with the Aryan Brotherhood. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't.
And do we think that Kalinda made a good call by going to Lamont to get him?
Couldn't go anywhere else.
She could have. She could have went. She's good at using her resources. She's good at getting what she wants. She could have went around that. I don't trust Lamont. I don't trust Bishop. Like, I think that was terrible. If he was to go to jail, I don't think that would have been a good call.
I don't know. I mean, I think Bishop is a powerful resource. I think I think it just gets Kalinda more in cahoots with him.
But I think the minute Kalinda did something bad while Cary is in jail, he has the power to call that person to make Cary's world terrible.
I think that's true too, but I think he has a certain allegiance to Cary because
Cary didn't flip on him.
Cary didn't flip on him, and he's had more than one opportunity. So much, even so, to this plea, he's being sentenced, and he still hasn't flipped on him. And
but
I think
a lot of things about
that.
Cary does end up about Kalinda.
Oh yeah,
we've talked, and we know that Archie Punjabi will leave the show at the end of the season, or at some point now in this season. Kalinda, not just Archie the actress, Kalinda the character, is probably looking for an out anyways. We know that in previous episodes and seasons of Good Wife, one of the motifs was her being restless, wanting to travel, wanting this and that and whatever, and that's kind of been discussed a little bit before. Mm-hmm. She's looking for an out anyways, and she's not stupid. She knows how the world works. When she is indebted to Bishop, just like Bishop said, you need to return me a favor.
Right.
She knows. Remember, Cary was offered by Bishop to go to Spain. I think it was Spain to be a lawyer there.
Yeah. That's why he mentioned Spain to the consultant.
And Kalinda may not know that offer exists, but she probably has an idea in her head that there is some kind of an offer or some kind of a way. And maybe in Kalinda's mind, I don't care if I go underground and work for a criminal enterprise. I want to get out of here. This is how to disappear. Maybe I can work for this guy. Maybe that's a stretch. I don't know. But she's not stupid, and she knows that this is an out to get out of Chicago and to flip her life. Whether or not that's what she wants, she's not dumb.
Speaking about Kalinda, usually, I hate her. I'm talking negative about her. But this really showed me she may actually care about Cary. She put her life on the line because he said, now, Kalinda, this pops up and you're caught. It's just going to be a lot of trouble. And she was like, you know what? Basically, I love him. Just do it. And I saw another side of her. I still don't like her, but I just saw a more caring, emotional side of Kalinda.
It's interesting, though, and this is a question that you can argue both ways, and we don't even need to argue it because we could literally take all day with it. I think it's not that she loves Cary, because I am one of the people, we've argued this in the past, that Kalinda is incapable of love in that same sense. Mm-hmm. She's whatever you want to call her, but I think she's a narcissist or whatever you want to say, and we can't psychoanalyze her. Right. But I think it's such a pride thing that she has to do her job right. She always has to win. We'll talk about the metadata in the email in a minute, but that is fudging the rules so she can do her job right and win because it's a pride thing. Going to Bishop is not a cool call. She knows who he is, but it's what it takes to help Cary do what Diane wants and win. Kalinda wants that respect and that understanding, and she doesn't need accolades. We don't see her bragging about it, but I think she's so tied to what she does as who she is she has to succeed. No matter the cost.
I have to disagree with you on this one. I mean, really? I really do. I agree with you on this one, Allison. I mean, I said to myself when I was watching, I was like, oh my gosh, she really might have a feeling for him. Because I do. I think she's very good at her job. I think she takes a lot of pride in her job. But even when Diane asked her a couple of times if you found anything, she was like, no, I'm working on something. I mean, everyone knew that this was like a search. This was searching for a needle in a haystack. So to come up with nothing... Okay, I mean, it would have been a horrible thing. Cary would have gotten sentenced, done and start doing his time, whatever. But she, I think, took some really big moves, and those moves were motivated more by at least, I'm not going to say she has feelings. I'm going to say maybe she has a feeling
Something's there. You've seen in
one
her
feeling
eye.
there's something there for this man more than I know I've given her credit for in the past. And I just feel as if it was much more emotional thing. Even when she said to him in the bed when they were mandated by the prison consultant to have sex. She asked him if he wanted sex again, but she said, "I'll be here for you." He didn't ask her, unlike other times.
I didn't believe that part now.
I didn't believe that part
You're
either.
pushing it a little too
And
far about her
that to me is the narcissism and the self-pride and the self-delusion in her, because she's saying to him, "I'll be here for you. I'm everything to everybody. I'm the best investigator. I'm the best employee.
see where
I'm the
you're
best
coming
girlfriend."
from.
She doesn't mean any of it. She's in it for herself.
I see where Bobby is
but she
coming
has to
from,
say
but in that scene, that was the only scene where I emotionally saw that she cared about Cary. You could see it in her eyes.
We've
It was
seen that
just
scene with that
a
her
lot
and
of
that
emotion.
FBI agent, though.
Yeah, but
I
mean,
never thought she cared about her in that
But
scene.
there was still emotion and touching feelings.
No, it
and
was
stuff
fake.
like that.
It was
Yeah,
it was
very
forced
different
and
than the
fake.
FBI.
Yeah, it was very different.
And I think she and Cary have had conversations before about how she felt in their relationship, and she was very open and honest. And this was not something. Remember the time before he said to her, "Can you just pretend for 10 days that you like me?" And she was like, "I can't do that."
But when did they become boyfriend and girlfriend again?
I don't know.
Well,
he
they're
called
not
her-
really-
He called her girlfriend 2 or 3 times, and I was like, "Quit calling her girlfriend."
Well, he's simplifying it for the prison guy. That was the other thing. The prison consultant doesn't really know what's going on. The prison consultant's dealing with
But
people who
he
don't
said,
have the
"Are
same
you the
issues as
girlfriend?"
Cary.
And she answered yes. That could have been a call from Bishop. She still said yes. I'm the girlfriend.
I don't
Because-
think she answered though. I think she just was like, "Is this Bishop's call?"
Is this Bishop's call?
Yeah, I don't think she
And
ever
he
said
said
yes.
no. This is the something prison consultant.
Yeah.
And she said, "What can I do for you?" Like, I don't think she ever said, "Yes, I'm the girlfriend."
I don't know.
I think-
I can't give her that.
I think in that case, and this is really semantics, but I think in that case, it boils down to she and he may not actually see themselves as traditional boyfriend and girlfriend. They certainly don't, but they understand that other people might, and so you just
Go
take
with
what
it?
it is. You know,
Just
is
go
that your
with it.
girlfriend? Yeah, sure, it's my girlfriend. Because you don't want to explain the situation to somebody, you just kind of roll with the punches.
Have we been there before, anyone?
I don't care to talk. I'm just kidding.
We've absolutely all been there. There's no
All
point in
been
lying.
there.
Real quick, before we get to Kalinda, because there's a lot to talk about her, and I want to do that right now. Before we do that, though, last question about Cary. The not telling him about the Brady violation. We'll talk about that in a minute, the whole Brady violation, but just Cary specifically. Should he have known what was going on, or were Alicia and Diane right to keep him in the dark? Until Alicia messed it up.
I think personally, he definitely should have known, because he may have been able to help. He may been able to make some calls. He may have been like, "Oh, I know what happened," or he knew about the officer. He may have known right away what the issue was. So why not tell him? He's a lawyer. That was stupid.
I mean, I get the lawyer part of him, telling the lawyer part of him, so because possibly he's beneficial, and Cary is a really intelligent, like really smart attorney. But the human side, getting ready to go to jail part, I can see why they didn't tell him. Only because I think you're preparing yourself for the worst, and to even get this hope. I mean, you saw how adamant he became when he was talking to Kalinda. It was like, "You tell me about everything," but it was just that spark of hope when you're so close to the end, I think can just sometimes destroy you more than not knowing it all.
But that's still a great memory and feeling to have, right? When you're about to go to prison, you still have, at least I had that happy feeling.
I think it's a letdown. I think it's huge. If the Brady violation didn't come through, it's a
Yeah,
huge
I
letdown.
think it's
To say, I might get out. No, I'm going to
But
prison.
if it didn't go, he may have been able to help. Like, I feel like he could have made some calls. He would have known what to do as a lawyer. He would have been hustling and
I
got
think
some stuff
the other
together.
thing is, and we would have to talk to defense attorneys about this. I know very little about criminal defense, but I have a feeling a defense attorney will tell you, get your client out of his own damn way.
Yeah.
Even if he's a lawyer, probably especially if he's a lawyer, because he knows the game too well. We will work for you. You pay us to work. Get out of your way. We'll call you when it's important. You know, when we think you can aid in your own defense, we'll use that. But it's the same reason why defendants do not go and incriminate themselves on the stand and they plead the fifth, or they don't take the stand in criminal trials or whatever, because they don't want to incriminate themselves. The more you involve the defendant in anything, I think the more you potentially run into trouble, because he's not or she's not seeing it from a clear, objective perspective. The lawyers are. And so for Diane and Alicia, even though it's personal because Cary is their friend too, they look at it as a lawyer's perspective and say, we need the defendant involved as little as possible.
Yeah, I think they need the focus to be, I mean, even Diane got to a point where she was like, "Alicia, stop calling me."
Yeah.
Only because it was distracting to what everyone needed to be focused on. And that was what they had 5 hours, 36 minutes to find this Brady violation. And they didn't need to be distracted by anything. Even Alicia, who's a named partner,
wasn't
calling.
helping out. She was
Yeah.
just
Right,
calling,
she was
like,
just
what's going on? What's
and,
going on?
And what else could Cary could he have done? He was there with the prison consultant, but call continuously and say, "Did you find it? Did you find it? Did you find it?"
Just eating his food food with his arm hunched over like that. I mean, he was
Is that
literally
the real
doing nothing.
way? Like, do you really eat like that in prison?
I saw it on Shawshank Redemption. It's got to be true. No, I don't know.
I don't know. But you need to practice. I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure. And when they write these shows, obviously, you've heard about what criminal crime shows do. They hire consultants and former police officers. So I'm sure they hired a former prison guard or a prison consultant to do. I'm sure there's truth in a lot of what this guy was saying, and they probably exaggerated a lot of it. But there's definitely truth in what that character was saying. So maybe we all just learned something valuable. I hope we never ever go to prison, but if you do,
never ever want to.
And
have
prison
to use
and
it.
jail are different. Let's be clear about that. Jail is one thing. If you get real drunk, maybe you go to jail for a night and sleep it off. Prison is
I don't want to do either. So
I think Bobby would do good in prison. I can see him going to prison.
I would not do
I don't
either
wanna
one.
do either.
No, thank you.
Know that.
I will roll over and snitch on somebody and go to protective custody right
That's
away.
good to know. You heard it here first.
Right, he's a snitch, everyone. So.
God, I'm gonna get arrested for something in 30 years. I'm gonna drag up this video. I can just feel it. Great. All right, don't put that in the universe.
That's okay. That's one more view. I'm just kidding. No.
Yeah, it'll get real hot for no explanation. In 30 years, it'll blow up.
Wow.
All right, let's talk about Kalinda, because I know you guys want to talk about that, and we've already hit her a little bit. Where the hell do we start with her? We've got Bishop. First off, we see she's carrying a gun. Allison, one of your points off camera, leaves the gun in her car. Stupidest thing you can do. That's how you get a gun stolen that winds up murdering somebody 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, but
What
I
are you
think
doing?
it's the smartest thing you can do when you're walking into Bishop's apartment.
To not bring the gun,
right?
for
and
sure.
you need to prove to Bishop that I'm really here. And last time I was here,
But-
I threatened you and your son.
But sometimes, come on now. What if Bishop would have just went off on her and she has nothing to protect herself?
think
Bishop
that's the
would not
point.
have gone off on her, and you know why? Bishop is a bully. Bishop is very dangerous, but he's also a bully.
Like
nobody,
you.
nobody stands up to bullies.
Bobby's a bully.
When somebody stands up to a bully, the bully either, and I know I'm very generalizing, this isn't true in all cases, but I think this would have happened with Bishop, and it kind of did. When somebody stood up to him, like Kalinda,
threatened him.
he sees her and says, "This little tiny woman stands up to me? Weird." You know, and it takes him off a little bit, and maybe it makes him respect her a little bit. And because he's a businessman, a criminal businessman above everything else, he's not a serial murderer. He kills people. He's not a killer. That's not what he does.
Right.
He's a businessman. And I think he would look at somebody like Kalinda, and I'm just speculating, but I think he'd look at her and say, she's kind of a tough ass. How do I use her?
her,
I'm
do
not
what I
going to
want.
kill her. I want to use her.
But my question is, why does she have a gun? Is she scared?
I think she always carries a gun just because of her background and the stuff that she does. I think she
Really?
carries. Yeah, I think
I've never
always
seen a
carries.
scene where she.
I
had
don't
a
think I
gun.
have either, but it doesn't surprise me that she would have one,
Yeah.
especially in this case.
But the director specifically made us
Yeah.
see that for a reason. So
And I think I think what we're talking about is that reason that she wanted to prove to Bishop, I'm not a threat to you.
Right.
I'm a verbal threat to you, and I'll stand up to you, but I'm not going to do anything stupid.
Right.
And Bishop, as criminal as Bishop is, as illegal as the things he's doing are, he still is bizarrely kind of a man of honor in a lot of ways. I know he's killing people, but he is honorable in the way that he's dealing with these people, in the way he's dealt with Cary a little bit, in the way he deals with Kalinda. He meets her face on. He doesn't threaten her out of line. He stays composed when she threatens him. I know it's a weird thing to think about that Bishop has honor. There are no honor among thieves, but in a weird way, he does a little bit.
But I think that, I mean, I do think he's quite honorable. I believe.
Yeah.
I think he's honorable. I think he believes in loyalty. I think he believes in respect, and I think she has gained his respect because it takes a person with big balls to come and threaten him the way that she did the last time.
You know how many 25-year-old guys are threatening Bishop like that? Zero.
Right.
And so when a woman does it to him from the right side of the tracks, from the legal side of the tracks, Bishop's like, wait a second.
well, I still think he have a little crush type of thing for Kalinda.
He could.
And B, he's an opportunist. And he
Absolutely.
loves to use people to get what he wants. So he's really not being nice. He's trying to get what he wants
Oh
from
no,
her.
I don't think he's nice. I think he's very smart.
He's
I think
smart.
he's realizing
yeah,
that
smart.
she's
Very
very
intelligent.
valuable to she can be very valuable if he gets her in the right position.
She's
So
like his
he's-
pawn.
Yeah, so he is lining her up for his next move in
Next
the game.
move.
Why does he kill Trey Wagner and not kill Kalinda? Trey Wagner's a mule. He's an idiot. No disrespect
But Trey
to Trey's
Wagner
dead
was
body.
loyal, right?
But loyal or not, Trey Wagner is a mule and an idiot and could have flipped and hurt Bishop, and he was no longer serving him. Kalinda,
Right.
Kalinda
is
could hurt
smart.
Bishop and
She
get his
could,
son taken
but
away. That
she's
means
also,
a lot to him.
She's also tough enough and smart enough that he can serve her.
And he
Or
kept,
she can serve him, excuse me.
Yeah.
He can use her.
and he kept Trey around until he didn't need him.
He can
any
find
longer.
another Trey. You can find a lot of drug mules on the
That's what I'm
streets of
saying.
Chicago.
You could find another Kalinda. That he gets
Can
what
you?
he wants from you until you're no good and he gets rid of you.
One day he could find another Kalinda,
Yeah.
but he hasn't used her yet.
Yeah, I think good Kalindas are hard to find. I do.
Good Kalindas are hard to find. Now
I agree with that.
Let's talk about Kalinda's illegal activity this week, and that, of course, is this email, the metadata. By the way, the easiest hack ever. Oh, you just delete this, then you delete that.
It's not that simple, is it?
It's no, it's not that simple.
Tons and tons of other steps that they just didn't show us.
Okay.
I mean, on camera. I mean, of course, it has to be more than that. But
these are just the things that people get mad when they watch TV and movies, because guns never fire the way they fire in TV and movies, and all the reloading that never happens but should, and computers. Everybody gets computers wrong on TV and movies. This show has gotten computers wrong before. When that virus popped up, totally got that was just ridiculous. Yeah. And this is another example. I know they edited it out, and we don't want to watch a hacker hack for hours.
Exactly.
But you have to be a little more convincing than, okay, you just delete this, change the date, delete that, do the same thing on the other computer.
They just want to simplify it for us. That's all.
Yeah.
I guess.
And I made it seem like it was a little bit more harder than that, like it was intense or something like that.
I know the Good Wife audience skews older. The demographics skews older, not computer native, not maybe quite as computer literate, but you don't gotta insult them. You know, give me something. They're not stupid people. They're smart enough to watch this show. Give me something.
Well, I'm saying there was at least 65 steps, and they just simplified it, so we saw the last two.
My question is, how severe is this crime?
Incredibly severe. You're hacking into the police department. You're changing evidence. You're getting a man
much time would
off
get?
Of a drug trafficking charge he admitted to. Now, whether or not he was guilty doesn't matter. He admitted guilt. Kalinda would go to jail for a long time.
Yeah.
This is I don't know if you would, it's not like an interstate crime. I don't know, because a federal crime is interstate, like old time hacking or fraud on phone lines or something. But I assume that this fraud crime might be a federal prosecution anyways because of what they're doing. So Kalinda could go to like a federal penitentiary for a long time.
And all of this for Cary. So you mean to tell me she does have some feelings for him?
And there you go.
So there you have it.
And she also doesn't want to lose. Would you guys have done what Kalinda did?
Definitely not. Never in a lifetime would I. Not even for my husband. No, I'm sorry.
Wow.
No.
I'm just too. I can't go to prison for anyone. It's just not worth it.
And I don't think that in the end, I don't think Kalinda meant to do it. Because remember, as soon as she changed the metadata, the other guy came in and gave her what really was like real proof, which actually turned out to be the other detective, and then getting a subpoena getting an affidavit from him, and then the other what is her name, ASA Pine, actually came to the judge and said, we have evidence to show that Cary was probably he completed, or he was under entrapment.
My question is, why was her laptop up? Why didn't she delete it? And why does she have access to Kalinda's laptop? I'm like, oh, I just printed this off of Cary's computer without even talking with her.
Well, she did. Remember, she was in there with the hacker guy, and Diane came in. She said, I'm working on something right now. So I think when she said, I have something, I don't know if just because it was like they had an hour left. I don't think it was the intention for her to use it. It just happened that way.
At least would have called and like, is this what we're using for the violation, Brady violation?
Did you see her face when Cary was like, yeah, they got it off your computer, and she wanted to be like, no.
Well, and Kalinda got caught between a rock and a hard place on time too.
Yeah.
They had this thing, and I think in Kalinda's mind, maybe she was saying, this is obviously illegal. I don't want to use it, but if I really have to use it, I will, because I got to get Cary out. Right. And then she goes to the court. She's like, crap, we have to use it. She gives it to them, or they have it, and she says, oh my God, we got to use it. This is terrible. And then after she's resigned herself to using it and the judge already possesses it, then Rodriguez walks in, and she's kind of like, if I would have known.
Right.
Exactly. But how did the other lawyer get the Rodriguez information?
Oh, because Kalinda talked to him, and then he made the statement, and it got to the...
Rodriguez did not go to Kalinda for that. Rodriguez went to Pine, because Kalinda's point was, Castro's gone, he can't screw you. Go to Pine and say this.
Now, how does this look for Detective Prima now?
Awful. Detective Prima would be theoretically in legal trouble, because according to the court now, what it looks like, he ignored an email and committed the Brady violation. Prima's the one who committed this violation.
Committed the Brady violation and was a part of the interview that wasn't potentially entrapment.
And Rodriguez has now flipped on him. His old partner flipped on him.
This is sad, because right then and there, Kalinda looked like she was sad and wanted to cry for him, like she actually cared about Detective Prima. Like she was sitting there like,
well, she set him up because she knows it's not true.
Kalinda took one guy out of prison and maybe potentially put another one in. I don't know what a Brady violation penalty is.
But would you do that for love? You really don't love a lot.
It
Let me ask Tara.
It depends. Ouch. It depends who you're taking out, and it depends who you're putting in. I think in Kalinda's mind, it wasn't a zero-sum game. Cary means way more than random Detective Prima.
He's lived his life, so.
And they also thought at the max they would get from finding this Brady violation was not that his entire conviction, it wasn't conviction. They didn't think the whole thing was going to be thrown out. They thought that his plea would be thrown out, and they would possibly get a chance to go back to trial again or start this over.
But they dismissed the entire case.
They dismissed the charges right now with prejudice, right? So they didn't expect that. So she didn't expect it was going to go as far as it did. She was just like, let's see this plea thrown out, and then we can go back and maybe
we just want to have our day in court.
Have our day in court. That's what Diane said. Let's have our day in court. So it was interesting that it went as far as it did, but I think it was a combination of, it was like a 1-2 punch. It was the metadata as well as getting the statement from Rodriguez saying, I was in there. They changed transcripts. It was entrapment. So it was just a bunch of stuff that got Cary off.
But remember, the case was dismissed before the sentencing hearing actually commenced. Cuesta was there to commence the sentencing hearing.
Right.
So Cary was not formally convicted through his own admission of guilt. Right. He obviously didn't go through a trial, so double jeopardy doesn't apply, which we were talking about. He could still theoretically go to trial if they found new evidence. Is that likely now? Knowing what's happening with Castro, probably not. Cary's probably out of the woods. Now, Kalinda's not out of the woods. They might be able to find something that she hacked into and did. Who knows? I'm sure that'll be part of the story.
Right.
But Cary, technically, if new evidence came up or if Chicago PD faked evidence or something,
right,
Cary could potentially still go to trial for something like this.
And the SA wanted to spend the resources to go through all this.
Is it going to happen? Probably not. Cary's jail days are over. Mm-hmm. Thank God, too. He couldn't hang.
And the judge actually seemed like he was sorry, his words.
I was worried because when the judge came in from the whole Peter Florrick thing, which I know you guys, I personally like Peter Florrick. Even from the Big days, I had to just shout that out.
Mr. Big.
Mr. Big from Sex and the City. I can't get enough of that. But even though he told Alicia, no, I can't help you the way you want me to help you, he still found a way to help her, which she didn't know anything about. Diane didn't know. It turned out to be a problem.
Nobody knew anything about it.
But he needed it to be that way.
I thought Kalinda set that meeting up.
No. Peter definitely did.
This whole time.
Peter definitely did. Because Diane's sitting there when Cuesta's blowing up Diane. Yeah. She's like, what the hell are you talking about?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's not my fault, dude.
I thought it was fake. I thought they knew that. Because he was like, Kalinda stalked.
No. Kalinda told Diane to stall the judge in the courtroom. And Diane's like, well, he's not even here. We don't know why.
Oh, wow.
That was all Peter.
But that was stupid of him to have his phone up. Like, why would you have your phone up and it says Peter? Like,
execution was stupid, but the plan I think the plan was great, and it shows that even though Peter on his face can't do what Alicia wants him to do, he still cares about her and cares what's going on with her and will do it in his own way.
Yeah.
So if someone says, well, did you know he did this, she can be like, no, I asked him to, he had to do it anonymously. I mean, he couldn't tell any of them because he couldn't incriminate any of them, but I think that just shows, in my opinion, how much he cares about her. That's my, plug for Peter.
I will tell you about that Mr. Big thing to totally change the subject on Chris Noth, the actor. Mr. Big, Law and Order, and Good Wife. That man has had a hell of a television career.
Absolutely. And I watch Law and Order, I think, every day because it comes on every day.
I love Law and Order.
Sex and the City comes on every day, especially over the holidays. So I've seen... I'm not even saying enough of Chris Noth because I love him. So there you go.
God bless Chris Noth. He's had a great career, and he's great. I love watching him.
Great.
Yeah, he is. Okay, Kalinda. I guess we're done with Kalinda. Is there anything I'm forgetting with her in the Brady violation? Fakes the metadata. They find Rodriguez. Maybe last question with her, and this is a total prediction, but we'll throw it out there right now, is if, how, when does she get caught for this? Did she leave a trail? You always leave a trail when you hack.
The one thing I thought about, and I thought it was going to come out in this episode, and I do think it's going to come out eventually, and that's what's going to bury Kalinda with this metadata thing, is that I was waiting for the SAS Pine and detective, what is his name? Prima. I was waiting for their affair to come out because, as we said before, like nothing comes out on television like that without a point and a purpose, right? And no one's found out about their affair yet. And in the trial, like in front of the judge, when Detective Prima said, Geneva, are you just gonna let them call me out like that? And she was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I think their affair is going to come out somewhere sooner or later. Maybe it's the time that Kalinda wrote down that, he actually read this email. His proof is going to be no. I couldn't have read the email at the time because I was actually scrumping the ASA Pine. Maybe
Right.
that's what he's going to say. But I do believe their affair is going to come out and it's going to bring Kalinda down.
Who would have incentive to leak the affair? Who do you
Kalinda.
think? Nope. Prima.
Because he wants
Prima's
to
screwed.
clear
He
his
has to
name.
clear his name.
Prima's
That-
already
his
screwed.
name.
Oh, wow.
And he's pissed at Geneva Pine. Not only for this and what happened, which was kind of out of her control in a way because they were hacked and she has no idea.
Right.
But she's also pissed that they got Rodriguez to flip.
Right.
And Prima might be able to do something to Rodriguez, but that won't be on here because Prima and Rodriguez are not main characters. The Prima Geneva thing.
Yep.
Prima has incentive now because what else does he have to lose? If he's going to go to jail potentially, I don't know what a Brady violation
I don't know.
requires him to do, but if he loses his career, if he loses his badge, whatever happens,
pension, whatever that's
he
what they
is
do
the
on.
one who has maybe something to do there. So Geneva Pine maybe functions in longer in this second half of this season. Maybe we see a lot more of her for other reasons too, like we saw with Finn when he was an ASA.
Right.
And then maybe she gets burned by Prima.
Right.
That was my prediction. That's the first thing that popped in my head when you brought those two characters back in.
Yeah.
Well, I did have an interesting question about before we get off of Kalinda's subject. When she took that phone call at Bishop's house, how did they mess up with the evidence and say it was an import and an export and get all of that mixed up? How come they didn't know the correct case?
You mean why did the police mess it up in the first place?
Like, how come they didn't know about this at all? Why did Kalinda and them just find out about
I think it's
that?
a weird combination. This is total speculation, but I think the police were railroading Cary because they were trying to get to Bishop. And Prima, in real life, didn't ever actually get the email
Yeah,
from
he
the
didn't.
Toronto police officer. We can speculate. If he actually got the email, maybe he would have ignored it anyways.
Right.
You know, maybe he would have deleted it anyways, and Prima actually would have done something illegal had he gotten the email.
But he was being charged for the import, not
import.
the export. So how do you mess that up when you're charging this?
Because you're trying to get to Bishop.
So he really was set up then.
You're trying to get I think he was set up in the sense that if you have this enterprise with Bishop and there's a bunch of criminals and he has a legitimate law firm representing him, who could you go after to flip? The criminals who are scared to death of Bishop, or the law firm that wants to outwardly remain clean and is clean by all accounts? Well, if you arrest Cary theoretically is immediately going to flip on Bishop. Problem is he didn't. He was scared of his life and other situations. So Cary didn't flip, and the ASA was like, well, shit. We thought Cary was going to give us Bishop.
Right.
Nobody will give us Bishop. But in the meantime, then the state's attorney had to say, okay, then we're going to play hardball with Cary. They get Cary to commit to admit guilt, so he can just go for 4 years, which is really 2. And then this comes out and happens.
But that phone call makes no sense. This guy knew everybody. Oh yeah, the lawyer guy who was charged for export, and she was like, no, wait, it wasn't export, it was import. It was just it threw me off.
Because the guy didn't realize what the charge was. He just knew what Bishop's empire was doing.
And he knew what was really going on.
Yeah.
And I think the cops just tried to piece something together to get a case, or the feds to get a case against Cary.
And what do you think? How did Bishop feel when he heard her saying that on the phone? Was it like, uh-oh, she's finding out?
I don't think Bishop heard. I think Bishop just was like, oh, something's going on.
Yeah.
I don't think... And to Bishop, it doesn't really matter. Carry in or carry out actually doesn't matter to Bishop anymore because Cary never flipped on him.
Right.
If Cary flips on Bishop now, that's a separate problem, but they would never come back to Cary to get Bishop. And Cary's probably like, dude, leave me alone. I don't want to do anything. I don't want nothing to do with this. Just leave me alone.
Yeah. He's like, I didn't flip on you once. Leave me alone.
Let me live my life.
And state's attorney, you tried to do this once. You didn't do it. Just leave me alone.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Bishop. Yeah. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. All right. Topic number 3. Let's go to Alicia. The lighter topic on today's episode was her debate prep with the fake Frank Praties. Adrian, the professor from the University of Chicago, dude, stop smoking.
Yeah.
I think I can pretty much cap that there. And then we've got Finn Polmar, which is, again, the fakest damn sounding character name I've ever heard.
I love
whatever.
Finn, but I wanted him there longer.
That's what she said.
Bobby.
That's what Alicia said.
So inappropriate.
It's what Alicia said.
Yeah, I mean, I found that kind of strange, just kind of, at least from what we saw. Who knows? They could have been there 5 hours sparring. I don't know.
Well, no, we can go backwards and do the thing because Adrian was there and he messed up real bad because he was just hiring a kite. And then Finn was probably there for maybe 2 hours, 3
Maybe.
hours because Kalinda had
that's
about
right.
6 hours
Had the countdown.
for investigating. So he might have been there for 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have good chemistry, and he was starting to get great answers, and they were starting to really debate and
Until the
spar
husband came in.
Until the husband came in. And so I wanted, because in my mind, we were even in the screening room watching it, and I think it was you, Allison, that said both her men are in the room, right? I wanted to see, all right, both her men in the room, which man's going to fight for it and win.
But it started, and does Peter know they're messing around?
Nope. And I think you guys are wrong about this. Peter, to me, when he was interjecting with Finn, when Finn was making his points about former state's attorneys, Peter wasn't getting into a pissing match over Alicia. Peter was getting into a pissing match over his record. And like Shakespeare said, methinks thou doth protest too much.
Finn got in his feelings then.
Finn got on Peter's record as a corrupt state's attorney, which is true. Peter's corrupt as shit. And Peter, instead of defending Alicia in a guy battle over a girl, Peter was defending his own record. Yeah, and Peter was saying, wait a second, dude. I wasn't a bad state's attorney.
But I wanted them to have a pissing match over the girl.
He was trying to belittle Finn, like, wait, you don't know your information?
That's that's my point. Is Peter was threatened by Finn.
Yeah.
And then later, the thing with Peter and Alicia is a little bit different. Right. But I think with Finn, he was threatened by his state's attorney record. And he was like, I don't care if this isn't on TV. I don't care if these 12 people see this. Peter's a prideful guy. Right. He's like, dude, shut the hell up.
You know? I wanted them to. I want to have a pissing match. I want to
like fight for
girl.
Me, the love of Alicia.
Yeah, I'm like, come on.
Peter doesn't know that Alicia and Finn are there.
Nor does
that was weak of him to walk off and be like, Finn. Something came up. I would have stayed there.
That's what I said.
It was very weak
Finn,
of Finn.
Show me a little bit more here.
Give me a break. Yeah, I agree with you.
Finn has no incentive to show. Finn doesn't want to date Alicia. As far as we know there's feelings there. I know, stop. But Finn doesn't want to get in a relationship with Alicia. So when you have a fling with somebody,
you don't really want to. Well,
it wasn't even a fling. Okay. There hasn't been enough. We know that road is going to be traveled down. It hasn't been traveled down yet.
Yeah, I think it's more there than that. And I think Finn, because you're right, I don't think Peter was there having a pissing match because he doesn't even realize what's going on between Alicia and Finn beyond that picture, right? Because you did ask her about that picture.
And I think the picture's dead and gone for him.
Right, that picture's gone for him, right? So especially since she called him out on his affair, but whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't think Peter was there for that, but Finn knows what's going on, and so I wanted Finn to have a pissing match over this chick, and he didn't. He turned around and left and used I got a client thing to do. So in my mind, love you, Finn, but you're a little bit weak. That's all I gotta say.
I agree with Tar. You're right. High five to that.
A little bit weak on that.
Okay, interesting.
Agree, definitely.
Needs my men to fight over me. That's all I'm saying.
But he's not your man right now. He's not your man. They're not Facebook official.
No,
but it doesn't matter. I'm messing around with you.
They're not even messing around. They just like kissed.
No, I think it's even beyond messing around.
They have emotions. It's there.
I know they do. Conversation.
All right.
No,
their fingers and hands have touched at the bar.
Come on now. That means a lot. When you just sit there and do this, we know what that means. That means something special.
Just saying.
All right. Now then, Peter became Brady number 3.
Loved it.
That was interesting.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Did you love Eli cutting it off for the reasons he did?
No.
No, but I understood why. Because I think, unlike Johnny,
I didn't understand
Johnny, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Johnny doesn't know the history, doesn't know how palpable that couple can be, and if it doesn't go well, it really is. It's a negative for both of them if they don't stay together.
I looked at it as it was great practice, and he was bringing out the good in Alicia. By all of that animosity, she was killing it. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
So why would you stop that in the middle of something good? She needs that. It's tomorrow, right?
It's tomorrow. But he's stopping it because, again, just like with Finn, Peter's a prideful guy. And this is going to screw with Peter in a lot of different ways as a governor. And Eli's like, hey, utilitarian theory here. The greatest good for the greatest number is to shut this down right now. God bless Alicia State's attorney's race. Peter's going to be affected by this.
I mean, when you're 2 points down, I would have kept him going. Like, it was just practice. Why are you mad? I mean, no, I'm practicing.
Yeah, but I don't think they were no longer talking about.
It was getting personal.
Yeah, it was no longer her debate practice. She was really telling him how she felt about him. She was
doing a good job.
Oh, she was
damn good job.
Great. I mean, she was talking about him as an SAA. I mean, as the SA. She was talking about him as governor. She was talking about him as husband. She was talking about him as a person. Like, she was really becoming very personal with it. I mean, she's using really great, eloquent words. And if you didn't know, you wouldn't have known. But Peter knew, and it was going to hit below the belt.
But my question is, whose campaign was it? I didn't understand that argument between Eli and the guy who's like, this is my campaign.
Well, Johnny's saying this is my campaign because he's her campaign manager. And Eli probably takes umbrage at that. Great word, by the way. Because Eli is the one who's pulling all the strings in this.
Yeah,
and he says, you might be the campaign manager, but I run the show.
Yeah.
And I brought you the body man.
Yeah. He's just a face.
Yeah, you're a face.
He's a really cute face.
You got nice hair, Johnny, but I run the show.
Yeah,
that's
a cute
Eli's
face,
thing.
But I don't think he's the real. Like, Eli's really running things.
So speaking of him being a cute face.
About second face?
That meant absolutely nothing.
What do you mean? I seen the energy when he went up to her while she was practicing it. It was there. I was like, oh my God. I said it in the room. I'm like,
You
wait
did.
a minute.
Yeah, you
Something's
did.
weird. They
You
like
did.
each other. And then at the end, I was like, oh my God, Lord Jesus.
That kiss at the end meant absolutely nothing. It's the debate is tomorrow, and she's been working hard, and it's been crazy. And more than that, it's Cary. Cary gets off. Every weight is lifted off her shoulders. She feels empowered. She feels this is kind of a weird, excuse my language, it's a fuck you to the world in a weird way. She's like, I can do whatever I want within reason. But that's kind of what she's feeling like. She says, I need a release of some kind. That's my release. See you later.
But a French kiss on the lips, she could have kissed him on the cheek. Now, if Peter was there,
But
she
a
went
kiss
up to
on-
him and
but
kissed
a kiss
Peter
on the
like
lips
that?
is empowering. That's the thing. I do it on my terms, and you are the one who's confused by that. Because Alicia's the big dog now. And I think that it wouldn't surprise me if next week on the show, they never even mention it.
I agree, and I think that's a waste. But see, I agree with you, Allison. I think there's energy and there's heat between the two of them, and so for her to just walk up to him and
he
do this,
accepted it, too.
of
Like,
course he accepted it.
What guy's not going to accept it? Julianna Margulies is hot.
come on now. Like, professional way, what's going on?
No, he would have accepted it.
All's fair in love and politics.
He was going to accept
When
it.
you throw it at it, why not
he,
take it?
He going to accept it. But I think it was a waste because you're right. I don't think they're ever going to speak of it again, and I think it's a waste of
Something
come on.
drama. Like, I was excited. Like, oh my God, what's going on? Like, why would you do that?
Will, rest in peace. We miss you very much. But how many episodes ago was that? So Alicia needs something, right? We thought it was possibly going to be Finn. He fizzled out for me. Sorry. So, okay, we have Johnny. Election. Debates coming up tomorrow. Elections coming up soon, right? So when is she going to get some heat? I thought
This
that
is
was
going to be her
it.
new fling, guys.
I think it was a waste.
I'm almost always right. So far, all my
Okay.
predictions have, been coming true. This is something new and exciting.
I think we need to roll the tape
I was
back
gonna
to the last
say,
couple episodes and see if this is
What
actually
was
true.
that? Okay.
Look at the Good Wife greatest hits from the first half of this season. See if
How many of you
Allison
guys out there
is
think
all
that
she's
this
cracked
guy
up to
is
be.
her new fling?
Yeah, and how many of you think it was just a wasted kiss?
Let us know, please.
Is that the question of the day you guys want to throw out there?
All
All right, let's make that the question of the day because Cary's case is not dead and buried, but it's
He's
pretty
free.
much. Yeah.
somewhat resolved. So that'll be the question of the day on YouTube for you commenters or on Twitter. We'll give our handles in a second. Johnny and Alicia's kiss. Was it, as Allison argues, Alicia's new hot fling, whether romantic or physical or somewhere in between? Or are you on the correct team like Tara and I? And are you arguing that nothing will come of it, nothing will
Correct
speak of it, and it was a kiss because Alicia was just in the moment?
How about that?
We want to hear
see.
from you guys on YouTube or Twitter. You can comment in the comment section or tweet us. All right,
Whew, it's been a long journey.
let's talk predictions.
Oh my gosh.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV prediction.
We've already predicted a lot,
Yeah,
so I don't really know where to go
I
next.
threw out my really good one earlier.
My prediction will stand. I don't remember what I said because it was in the first half, but I remember saying that Kalinda is going to die. Didn't I predict that a while ago?
Oh, you did.
That Bishop is going to get her at some point. Kalinda, because she's now indebted to Bishop, she's waiting for this call. We will certainly see that next episode. She's waiting for this call and whatever's going to come from that. She's either going to mess up, get in too deep, something's going to happen, and I think Bishop is either going to kill her or she will be his mule of some sort in Spain, his legal help, his whatever he needed. She's not going to become like a street corner drug pusher for him. She's smarter than that. But she will join his evil empire, and she will either literally die to be written off the show, or she will metaphorically die from legal world and go into the black market underworld criminal world.
Well,
We
as
know
I
she's
stated-
leaving, so that's not really a ballsy
Right.
prediction. But it's going to be Bishop. Bishop will be her undoing
Yeah,
without a
I
doubt.
do. Okay.
Well, as I stated before, I always said Cary was innocent and he was going to be set free. And of course, we all just noticed that my prediction came
Allison
true.
is always
Because I'm
right.
always right. I mean, of course. So, besides Cary being free, I don't like agreeing with you, but I do think that Bishop is going to have a cause for Kalinda leaving the show. Period, point blank. Or this case happens and they find out it's Kalinda and she runs off to Spain or run away and then we don't ever see her again. So,
Wow.
yeah. And I do, of course, think this little new fling with the campaign manager is going to turn into something exciting.
All right. Well, I think that this sparring match we saw today between Alicia and Peter is actually going to cause more problems. I think there's going to be another issue that's going to come up in Alicia's campaign, and she's really going to need Peter. And unfortunately, I think she hit him below the belt. she didn't realize what he was doing for her and Cary behind the scenes. And I think he may take it personally and think she's a little ungrateful. And when she really needs him, he's not going to be able to do it.
Quick mini prediction, one-word answers from both of you. Alicia, at the debate next week, does she win or lose Tara?
Lose.
Alison?
Of course she wins.
I say she loses.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I'm always right.
Hey, that's it this week on The Good Wife. Let's do social media.
right.
Again, our question is, did you want me to do this or do you want to gloat a little bit more?
Do you, Bobby? It's all you.
Our question is about Johnny and Alicia's kiss at the end of the episode. Do you agree with Tara? Did it mean nothing and will we not see too much more of that? Or do you agree with Alison and it is the next hot thing on The Good Wife?
Definitely.
Tell us on YouTube in the comment section or on Twitter. We're going to give our Twitter handles right now. Tara, where can they tweet you?
I am TJ wagging her tail.
And of course, the lovely Alison Law. You can find me at That's a Law, THATSALAW.
Hashtag I'm always right.
I'm glad you have such
You
good...
are on the roll tonight. You know, she knows it. I'm always right.
I'm glad, Alison, you have such good public relations. Your team is incredible. I'm on Twitter at Bobby DeMuro. That's it this week on The Good Wife. We'll see you guys next Sunday. Thank you for watching. Happy New Year. Good night.
Happy New Year.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.